Hi soulmates, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome. Today we'll be drafting and sewing this beautiful neckline top with underbust tightening. So now I've gone ahead to draft the basic block. If you're new here and you don't know how to go about this, I'm going to link it up here so you can watch. Now you want to get the underbust length on the pattern paper here, so you're going to rule it out like so from your shoulder to your underbust, and then you rule it across. So now this is going to be your underbust line. To get what you have there, you're going to take your round underbust circumference measurement and you're going to divide that by 4 and place it on your marked line. Take note of the dot that you have there from your original bust line, so you're going to take that out as well. So whatever you have left is what you're going to be sharing. And so now from what I have left there, I'm going to share more to the side than to the center part. So that's going to be taking 4 cm and then 2 cm at the center front part. So this is going to give me my underbust curve. And then I'm going to be connecting this back to the waistline with a straight line. Oh, so rhymes. So I'm connecting that back to the waistline using my straight ruler, and then I'm going to connect it from that point back to the G point, and that's going to give us a very sharp angle. But don't worry, that's not the angle that we want to use. We're just using that as a guideline. So rule it across and then you have it straight like that. So now to get the real neckline tightening that we want, we're going to be taking our percentage measurements around there. So I'm going to be doing 40 or 50% tightening thereabout, and to do that you're going to be using your shoulder that multiply by the percentage that you want and then divide it by 100. So whatever you have as your leftover is what you're going to be sharing. So you share more of it to the side than you share to the neckline area. So now I'm going to be ruling it to the points G. Like I said in the previous video, you're going to fold this over and get the true shoulder line exactly. So you're going to use your tracing wheel and then trace it out like so. So now it's going to make sure that you are not short of any measurements around your shoulder area. Now our points are complete and we just need to rule out or curve out our bust shape to our under bust. This is where the tightening is, right? So now you place your curve ruler the way I'm doing. Ensure that the fullest part is around the point G, because you don't want your bust shaping to have a toggle shape. And then you connect it like so again to the under bust area. So you flip your curve ruler such that it gives you a balanced shape following the contour that you have around here. Guys, this is very important, so take your time to do this, do not rush it. Now you can see the smooth curve that I have there, it is flowing naturally into the under bust line. So now this is what we have left, and then we're going to split open the center dart line and then close the shoulder dart area such that we can measure our neckline perfectly. So now see what I have there. You know, I already took 40% of my shoulder measurements out like that, so I do not need to shorten the shoulder again. So now what I did there was to have 7 cm left of my shoulder for this particular style, and then from the neck point I came down by how low I want the square neckline to be. So now can you see this is beginning to look so smooth already? And then I'll just shaping this side out, but first you need to contour the part that you know might gape when you wear your dress, right? And this part is mostly around the center area for this kind of neckline actually. So I'm going to pick a point around there that I'll be pinching off, rule it to the point G in a straight line, and then on that line I'm going to be picking 0.5 cm each on each side, and then I'll close it over like a dart. Guys, this is so important because it will prevent your neckline from gaping. All that opening that you will see on some dresses, you will not be seeing it if you try it this way. So now tape this down and never open it ever again. So now we're going to reshaping the square neckline following the contouring that we have done just now, and then we're going to cut out our neckline. But before you cut out, you can see on the style that we have some sort of statement around there. So I'm just measuring the length of that dash line that is on the top, and then I'm going to use that later on. So now on the back shoulder, I just measured what I have left of my shoulder on the front, and I'm going to replicate it on the back shoulder, right? So as I have replicated, now I'm going to be doing our back tightening. This is usually done on the neckline area. So if your neckline falls below your chest line at the back, you're going to be using half inch, not cm, half inch to tighten your back, and this is going to prevent further bulges that you will get around your zipper area. So here I was contemplating if I should use my curve ruler or I should use my straight ruler, so I ended up using my straight ruler. Connect that back to your mid center back, and then you're going to be using that as your new center back line. The dart line have been taken out already, so now we're going to be doing further shoulder tightening, guys. This is just to enable that our dress or our top fits perfectly well on our shoulder. So from the neck point, come down by 0.5 cm, replicate the same thing at the back neck point, come down by 0.5 cm and return it back to nothing at shoulder point, neck point to shoulder point. So guys, it's time to cut. Do not forget the tightening and the contouring that we did around these areas are what's going to make the top not to gape, and it will help it sit perfectly well. Guys, I need you to try this and tag me, share it with me. Let me see what your recreation is about. How do you feel about it? So now, as you can see, now I'm opening up the dart area there so I can get the exact curve that I need to cut out, just so we're not short of anything, you know. Now I'm going to cut this all out. Cut, keep cutting, and then we'll shaping out the rest of the lower part, the M area, the side, the armhole, and then don't forget the shoulder tightening that we did extra at the back. It is not compulsory, guys, but it is very necessary if you do not want your top to gape. Can you see the shape that we have now? This is what it's looking like. Can you see? If you want your neckline to be lower than this, feel free to do so, but do not forget to contour. So I'm just going to replicate the same M shaping that I did for the front. So I came up by 4 cm at the hip area, and then I connected it back to the center back, right? So guys, this is what it is looking like now, and then I'm going to cut this out. Chop. So now that all of this is done, ensure that you are not short of any measurements around these areas. It is very important. So do not overcut, do not over contour, just be moderate about it, and be rest assured that your dress is going to turn out pretty fine. So now I have placed my pattern on the fabric that I intend to use. Guys, this is organza fabric with a pattern, and I do not intend to line this, but we'll be using facing. So I put in all of my desired measurements for allowance, sewing allowance I mean. So I did 1/2 inch around the bust area and 1.5 inches at the side. So I did this for both the front and the back. Then the armhole area also takes 1/2 inch, and then the shoulder also takes 1/2 inch. So this is what I have, guys. I've gone ahead to cut out both the facing and the fabric, and the long strip of fabric that we'll be using as the detail at the front. I just cut out 4 inches wide and I think 20 inches in length. So now I'm going to start sewing. Take notes, guys, all your sharp edges, ensure you notch them, because that notching is what is going to give you the perfect sewing. It ensures that all your sides are intact, right? So I've picked the first side and I'm sewing on it. Like you can see, the underbust area, ensure you notch it, guys, because they need to match. So now if you have sewn up to this point, you will need to give them a notch further, just so that place would relax and it will not be bulging out unnecessarily. So now I'm just going to give it a scissor notch, chop chop chop. Do not cut through the seams, just notch at the center like so. Then I would do the same for the second part. Just like you can see, I'm just sewing the second part as well. Ensure all your notches align for the under bust area, for the bust points, if you have taken that as well. So having done all of this, the front block is ready as a piece now, and you can see the effect of the notched area is properly shown here. It's very evident. So now we're going to be putting this in such a way that you have the neckline very visible, and then we're going to pick our strip of fabric, sew it straight, and then turn it to the right side. So I sew on the wrong side to turn it on the right side so that I can hide the edges like that. And then I ironed flat using the center that I have just sewn to be under. Can you see? So it's not going to show on the side, it's going to show underneath. So now the measurement that we took that time for the chest distance was 18 cm, and I added 2 cm extra to it for sewing allowance, right? 1 cm on the side, which is approximately half of an inch. So now guys, before you turn this with the facing, just sew this on one side of the neckline at the point where you want to place it. Do not sew the second one, guys, because it's very difficult for you to turn it when you want to turn with your facing. But just note the part where it is going to be by taking your accurate measurement, the distance from your sharp neck points to where you want to take the other part of the strip to. So now I'm going to be turning this all over with my facing. Remember, I told you I prefer the facing. I'm not using a full lining. There is no stay, air stay, whatever on this dress. It's just an organza and it's going to look so perfect, guys. So now, having done that, we're going to replicate the measurements that we took at that time to create a space where this other strip end is going to enter. So that space, we'll be skipping it when sewing our facing. So now you skip it and then you sew the rest of the shoulder. By the time you turn it to the right side, you are now going to insert the end of that strip into that space that you have left. Guys, ensure you notch the corners of this square neckline because it is going to fold a bit, but once you notch it, it's going to relax better, and then you can now place your iron. Can you see I have just inserted the strip at this point and I'm going to sew over it. Do not use more than the allowance that you put on both the neckline and the strip itself. So I used approximately half of an inch as my allowance for both sides, and that's what I am using right now to sew. So having done this, you are going to notch necessary areas and then top stitch if you want to. It is necessary, but it's not compulsory. Can you see how it is laying now? By the time you iron, it's going to be much more perfect. Can you see? So now I'm just ironing, placing the steam iron to further flatten every side of this fabric, and it makes it really soft and easy to work with. Guys, can you see? With the help of your bust arm, you are going to get the right effect. So now sew the sides of your facing and the side of the main fabric together. This would hold down the fabric. You can as well turn the hem of your facing if you want, but in this case it's an organza and I do not want it to be showing seams underneath. So I left it the way it is. So now for the back, we're going to transfer the dart that we have here, transfer it on your fabric using your tracing wheel if you can see, or just find a way to transfer it to the back of your fabric. If your fabric can show tracings, right, then you sew out your dart. So sew it for both sides, and then you're going to be using your facing to flip over. But before you use your facing to flip over, right, we're going to be placing our zipper. You first sew your zips on it on each side, then use your facing to turn it to the wrong side, right? So now place your zip right on your top, sew it first, then use your facing on it later. So you turn the neckline and the zip area together. It gives you a sweet neat finishing at the back, so you do not have so much rough edges to work with. Can you see, guys? This is what it looks like on the outside, and if you flip it over to the inside, you'll see that it is very, very neat as well. Can you see? So this is what we have right now, and then we're just going to go over and join the shoulders together. There are different ways to join shoulders, guys. Pick the one that works best for you. I just flip over the facing side of my shoulder to the right of the front top bodice, if that's right, and then I just sew it. So can you see what I have now? This is looking really nice already. So now I'm going to take it back to the ironing board, iron everything perfectly, and then come back to sew the sides. But before you sew the sides, guys, you need to measure accurately, and you need to measure according to the contour of the body. So you know you will come down by 4 cm before we shape the side of the front. You're going to take your bust measurement around that side, press down all pressable areas, and ensure you follow the contour of the body that you have measured out there to take your measurements. So you're going to do this for the front and the back. You add it together and subtract the whole circumference of your bust from whatever figure you have from here, and then you divide it by 4. Please, if this is too fast for you, rewind back, slow it down, and listen to what I have said again. So you are going to repeat this for the bust, waist, and the hip area. This will give you a perfect fit. So now you are going to ensure that both the front and the back sides are together. Do not mind the unevenness. Just ensure that for each side it is touching each other, right? And then you sew it one after the other. Sew the first side together, then ensure that the other side joins together, and then sew that one too. So this is what we have. We're just going to go ahead and turn the hem area in. You can as well weave it if you want, but this is what I am working with. I'm just going to turn it to the wrong side and hem that area in. So I just went ahead to place my sleeve. I didn't do that on camera, I did it off camera, and everything looks really nice. Can you see, guys? This is the finishing that you want for your underbust tightening. Can you see? This is the back view, and then the sleeve area as well. Can you see? At this point, if you enjoyed what you just watched, please kindly give a like, share, subscribe for more. Thank you, guys. See you some other time. Bye.